Hi guys, this is Sliver here, and this video is going to be a little bit different compared to the ones that you can see on my channel because this is a challenge video. In this video I'm going to try and get a mythic unique item in less than 2 hours without farming Belial or without farming any lair bosses in Diablo 4 Season 9. Now the reason for this video is that I'm really fed up with Belial farming, I'm fed up with the slot machine like mechanics, I'm fed up with buying the Betrayer's husks that are obviously duped, and I don't like trading very much as well in Diablo 4. And since we are obviously forced to farm Belial for unique items with greater affixes, I thought it would be a great idea to farm alternative ways for mythic unique items, and this is one of the alternative ways. A few days ago I posted a guide about how to get mythic uniques without killing Belial, so basically I'm going to be following my own guide and checking out whether it's good or not. So you can see the timer on the bottom left side of the screen. Obviously this is not going to be a 2-hour long video. I'm going to cut to the most important part, and in the meantime I'm going to narrate what's happening and what we're doing and why. Now first of all, we are obviously trying to farm mythic uniques through the Kurast Undercity, more specifically with the Tribute of Ascendance. So our first goal is to get a Tribute of Ascendance, which we can later use to get mythic uniques. And there are a few sources for Tributes of Ascendance. One of them is word bosses, which you are not going to see in this video because word bosses didn't spawn in the 2 hours of this farm. And the second part is the whisper caches. So what you can see here is that we're actually farming whisper caches by doing the different whisper objectives. For example, we're doing the Kurast Undercity now with a Tribute of Harmony in order to get 5 green favors. I actually have 3 characters that are able to farm Torment for, so we're only going to do the most lucrative whispers for 5 green favors, and we're going to log on to the other characters once we run out of those. So once we finish this Kurast Undercity, we're going to look through the map and try and find more of these very good whispers, such as the whisper in the PvP zone, where you get 5 green favors for killing the Seething Abomination, or the Helltide Whisper when killing the Blood Maiden grants you 5 green favors, or any of the boss whispers. So for example, killing Varshan can grant you 5 green favors if that whisper is up. And when we finish this on one character, we're going to switch over to the other characters. I believe that I have a druid and a necromancer, which are all going to do these same very good whispers after each other, and this way we don't have any downtime and we don't have to do any of the less optimal whispers. By the way, at the beginning you might have noticed that I have 2 dexterity gems slotted into the chest armor of the sorcerer, and this is because I only have 2 of the mythic chest armor that I'm going to share with my druid, and that's why I'm not going to swap out the gems for the sorcerer. So those of you who wanted to put this into the comments, then you can put this into the comments, but if you do, then I will know that you didn't watch the video up until this point, and I will definitely remind you of that in the comments. So what are we going to do with the whisper caches? Once we finish with a character, we're going to open all the whisper caches that we managed to get from them and then move on to the other character. Obviously, as I have mentioned before in my guide video, if you are offered the Dungeon Keys Whisper cache, then you have to take it because that has the highest chance of containing a Tribute of Ascendance. So by this time at 20 minutes we managed to complete the farm with my sorcerer. So we are opening the now we are opening the 4 caches that we managed to get. these are the caches that we farmed in this 20 minutes. So I would say this is not bad. You can see that each cache contains an extra gift of the tree. This is because the event that involves this gift of the tree extra cache was going on when I was doing the farm. I don't know actually whether this gift of the tree has a chance of having a tribute inside it. Regardless of that, we did not manage to get a cache that has the dungeon keys in it. So these caches that I'm opening right now have a very low chance of containing a tribute of Ascendance. So my hopes are not very high up in the air of getting a tribute of Ascendance. So we are most likely going to have to continue with our next character, which is going to be a minion necromancer. Now, it's worth noting that you could consider keeping these caches for your future alt characters, because they of course give experience, and you would need around 15 of the caches while the Tree of Whispers event is going on to level a new character to 60. And because these caches have such a low chance of containing a Tribute of Ascendance, then you might be better off saving the caches that don't have dungeon keys inside them for your alt characters. But you are losing on that low chance of these caches containing a Tribute of Ascendance. If you open them right away, then of course the new character can also get the Tribute of Ascendance. But if you just put your caches onto your stash, then you will lose out on the opportunity of getting a tribute until you actually open the cache. So you might have noticed that we logged out and logged back in with our Necromancer. So we're going to continue the farm with our Necromancer. And again, we're doing this because now all the good whispers are available because we changed characters. So we're going to do these good whispers, which very fast lend us a few whisper caches that we can hopefully turn into a Tribute of Ascendance, which we will be able to use to get our mythic uniques. So we are running on our Necromancer, which I think is the weakest of the three characters. I think that Skeletal Mage Necromancer is not as much of an endgame build as the other two, being the Hydra Sorcerer and the Pulverized Druid. However, it is very low maintenance and the Skeletal Mages do a lot of damage by themselves, so I don't really have to press many buttons while playing it, and that's what I like it. And sometime in the future I might make a video about how to farm experience while being AFK with this build, but that is far in the future. However, what is not in the future is that we are about to finish our last whisper for this Necromancer at the 40-minute mark, and we are going to teleport back to town and open all of the whisper caches that we managed to get. So remember, on the Sorcerer, it took us around 20 minutes to get 4 whisper caches, and for the Necromancer, I expect the results to be very similar. As you can see, we once again didn't manage to get a whisper cache that involved dungeon keys, so we don't really have a good chance of getting a Tribute of Ascendance from these caches, including the original caches and the Gift of the Tree caches as well. And our next character is going to be the Pulverized Druid. So we're going to log on to the Pulverized Druid right now and start the same whispers that we did for the Necromancer. Now, of course, you can say that this is quite monotonous, but I can argue that the alternative, which is the Belial spam with duped materials and billions of gold, is way more monotonous than doing whispers. And at the same time, you get a lot of ancestral legendaries, which you normally would not get from Belial. So remember, Belial only drops uniques and not legendaries. So this is another decent advantage for this farm. I'm not saying that this farm is better for mythic uniques than Belial, but I am saying that it is alternative it is an alternative, and it is a decently refreshing one at that, for those who are tired of farming Belial all over and over again. Looking at the timer, we are over halfway done of our 2-hour farm, and we still managed to not find any tributes of ascendance, not even a cache that contains dungeon keys. We are also almost done with the druid farm, so I skipped most of the druid farming whisper caches, and at this point we would have to move back to the sorcerer and see if any lucrative whispers have respawned since we left the sorcerer. But it looks like that on our 12th turn-in of whispers we see a greater collection of dungeon keys, which is the single best source for collecting the tributes of ascendance. So our druid now has a pretty good chance, I would say way over 50%, of getting a tribute of ascendance, and it looks like that we managed to actually get one. I highly doubt that this would be an extreme stroke of luck, so getting a tribute of ascendance and a dungeon key cache in 12 whisper completions. I don't think that's very unlucky. So the next step is to get a group where everybody has one tribute of ascendance, and this way you can do rotations of everybody opening their tributes of ascendance, and instead of just using the tribute by yourself, instead of having only one chance for a mythic unique, you have 4 chances, because all the other players also have a tribute, and you have a chance of getting a mythic unique for each tribute the party actually uses. So the question is, how do you get such a group? Because it is decently difficult to get a group where everybody actually has a tribute of ascendance. Well, on my guide video I actually mentioned that Discord is the answer. More specifically, the Diablo 4 Sanctuary Discord has a section where you can post that you're looking for a group with a Tribute of Ascendance rotation. And this way you will be able to get a group. Sometimes it takes longer to get a group because Tributes of Ascendance are quite rare, and sometimes you get screwed over because some people in the group might leave and use up your tributes. However, it is definitely better to do this in a group because you can't really lose out on anything. At worst, then you use your own tribute of ascendance, and at best you get 4 chances for tributes. So I definitely recommend looking for a group for this, because this is how you maximize your chances for mythic unique items. So I managed to get a full group with tributes of ascendance, and we are going to do 4 runs of the Kurast Undercity with the tribute of ascendance plugged in the Kurast Undercity brazier, and let's see how it goes. This is going to be our first try out of 4 to get a mythic unique item. The boss is of course not a problem at all. However, the drop doesn't happen, which means that unfortunately we did not get our mythic unique on the first try of this Kurast Undercity rotation, and we have to try again. So let's move on to the second try. I don't really know the drop rate of mythic unique items from these chests, but I've had 2 rotations like this before, and in both cases I was able to get at least 1 mythic unique, so I thought that the drop rate was pretty good, as we don't get any mythic unique from the second try as well. But some other commenters told me they had like 10 to 15 tries with this exact rotation, and they haven't gotten 1 single mythic either. So this experiment is also good to better gauge the drop rate of mythic uniques from this chest. So we have the 3rd chance of getting a mythic unique, and as you can see, unfortunately there's no mythic unique here either, and we have 1 single chance left. This is the actual tribute that I'm using myself. So all the other people have used their tribute, and now we're running my very own tribute. And we managed to get a goblin during the run, but that's not really the most important thing. The most important thing is that we did not manage to get a mythic unique out of these 4 tries. In fact, the whole group only got 1 mythic unique item, which is very, very low. I think it means like 1 out of 16 was the drop chance for this particular rotation. And as you can see, it's only 1 hour 30 minutes that have passed, so I decided to continue and farm the Whisper caches with my druid. And believe me when I say that the interesting things are far from over. So with this Ondaria kill, we get 1 extra Whisper cache, and that Whisper cache is in fact going to be a dungeon key cache. And when I saw this, I could barely believe my eyes that we got so lucky of getting 2 greater collection of dungeon keys. However, unfortunately this time we didn't manage to get a Tribute of Ascendance, so the disappointment continues. Now at this point the whispers have been done on my druid, so I returned to my sorcerer to see whether I get some good whispers back. And believe me or not, the interesting things are still not over, as we managed to complete 2 whispers with my sorcerer, but none of the caches contain anything. None of these 2 caches are actually a dungeon key cache. And lastly, I logged back to my druid at the 1 hour and 50 minute mark because I forgot to open the 3 remaining caches that are farmed back at the beginning. And it seems like from one of the Gift of the 3 caches, I managed to get a Tribute of Ascendance. So this is the second Tribute of Ascendance that I got with this run, and the second one came from an actual Gift of the 3 cache. I believe that the drop chance from regular caches for Tributes of Ascendance is really low, so at this point we can consider ourselves really lucky, at least in terms of the tributes, not in terms of the mythic unique items. And since I wasn't able to find a group in the remaining 10 minutes of this challenge, I decided to run this Tribute of Ascendance solo, which you definitely shouldn't do. I think the definitely objectively better choice would have been to wait for a group, but since I didn't find one in the allotted time period, I decided it was more fair for the sake of the challenge to run this solo and hope for a miracle. So all in all, the challenge itself hinges on this very last boss and whether it drops a mythic unique or not. And when we open the chest, it unfortunately doesn't contain a mythic unique item, so apparently I managed to fail the challenge. I wasn't able to get a mythic unique item without farming Belial or without farming any other layer bosses in 2 hours. However, I believe that I got really close. I had a total of 5 chances of mythic unique items from the Kurast Undercity with the Tribute of Radiance. I got 2 Tributes of Radiance in this time period, which I consider quite lucky. However, we did not manage to get a mythic unique item from these tributes. Of course, what I could have done is run the second tribute in the group, but I didn't do it for the aforementioned reasons. And this is what I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed my journey of not getting mythic uniques, and if you enjoyed this video, then you might want to check out one that will get you guaranteed Resplendent Sparks repeatedly in every 2 to 3 hours, depending on how fast your leveling is. So if you're interested, check out this video, and thank you for watching. See you guys next time. Thanks.